Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Allah Akbar. Deus nos aqui assim são tipo de um barrigo dá perguntar já Baruch ata Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam Amen. Kyrie eleison. Civil Master Sabrigatahi. Sabe Sata Bavantu Sukita. Pagabia. Umbuntu. Shabon. Aquaba. Upendo Naman. Sheshe. Kamusunida. Domo arigato. Lumayelo Bavantu. Takado Kashingu. Yabu Hindu. To bless us from the God. Atajama Yata Hanami. Aho.
Namaste, assalamu alaikum, shalom, ni hao, buenos dias, sesache, aquaba, welcome. What up, though? Today we have a story from the tradition, the tribe, the nation, the people of Israel. This is the story of Yosef Avinu. In the sharing of this story today, we consider the principle, Lot Ethos principle of Nisamanfo. Nisamanfo is a term, a word from the Twi language of West Africa, Akan. It means ancestors, the reverence, the honoring of our ancestors. Thus we consider this in the sharing of the story of Yosef Avinu. So, the story of Yosef begins before Yosef, many thousands of years ago, millennia ago. We'll begin this telling of the story with Yaakov, the father of Yosef, Yaakov Avinu. Yaakov Avinu, he tricks his brother, and his brother swears revenge. Blood. Thus Yaakov Avinu must flee to another land, back to his relatives, and find refuge there. And that's what he does. And he sees his cousin Rachel, and he is in love. He works for his uncle Laban. He agrees to the terms of marriage for his cousin Rachel. He also marries his cousin Leah and two other wives, Bilhah and Zilpah. And he has children. But he has 10 sons without having a child with his beloved wife, Rachel. He has children with all the other wives he has, but without Rachel, until Rachel is remembered by God, by Adonai, and conceives a son, Yosef. And it is when Yosef is born that Yaakov Avinu says to his uncle Laban, I must return to my land. And that is what he does. Another son is born between Yaakov Avinu and Rachel, Benjamin, the 12th son. Yaakov Avinu, who becomes Israel, makes amends with his brother, resettles in the land, and establishes himself there. And Yosef is the favorite son. Yaakov Avinu loves Yosef Avinu, provides him with gifts, including a colorful coat to signify his favoredness, and the other brothers don't like him too much. He's a dreamer, and he thinks a lot about himself. So they don't like him too much. He also tells their business, tells everything they're getting into, so that he gives a bad report about him to his daddy, to his father. They don't like that too much. So one day, Yaakov Avinu sends Yosef Avinu to the field to meet up with his brothers. And Yosef Avinu does that. And as he's approaching, the brothers say, "Oh, here comes that dreamer, that trouble turkey dude. Let's do something to him. We'll see about his dreams." So they plot to kill him. And the eldest of the brothers, Reuben, says, "Don't kill him. Put him in a pit. Get a meal. Rest about it. We see what we do about it." And that's what they do. They put him in a pit. And then they take a break. A siesta. Chill out for a while. Then another brother, Yehuda, says, "Why don't we kill him? Let's sell him off. There's some traders. Some of our brethren, the Ishmaelites. They're going to Mitzrayim, to Egypt. Let's sell him over there. Get some money from him. Why kill him? He's our brother after all." So they say, "I guess that's a decent deal." So they sell him into slavery, to be sent away to a distant land. His own brother. That's what happens. Yosef Avinu says, don't go, don't sell me, don't kill me, please, please, please." They don't care. Done deal. Gone away. Mitzrayim, that place. He's taken. He goes. He is enslaved. When he arrives in Egypt, a man purchases him. A man who is in the high rankings of Pharaoh. And Yosef says, "I'm going to make the best of this, the best I can do. I go with God. I have faith. God is with me." So, when Yosef Avinu is a servant, a slave, within the master's house, the master sees that God is with Yosef Avinu, that everything that Yosef Avinu does is blessed. So the master puts Yosef Avinu in charge of everything in the house, and the house does well. So the master is very trusting, loves Yosef Avinu. But some things can be a little bit too nice, because guess who else likes Yosef Avinu, and not necessarily the best of ways? The master's wife. And one day the master's wife sees how pretty Yosef Avinu is. And the master's wife says, she wants to do some things that ain't the right thing to do. And Yosef Avinu says, "I can't do that. You're my master's wife. I can't do that. He trusts me with everything except for you. I can't do that." And day after day, she come at him. And he says, no. Till one day, there are only two of them in the house. And she grabs onto him. And he gets scared. He runs. And she holds onto his clothes. And he runs out without the clothes on. And she says, "Ha, got him." So when her husband arrives, the master of the house arrives, she says, "Hey, look at this. Look who you brought in the house. Look what he's ready to try to do." And the master says, "Oh, I trusted him. To jail with that fiend." So Yosef Avinu is sent to jail. From slavery to incarceration. Dungeon. Yosef Avinu is locked up. Again, he says, God is with me. I do the best I can. So even when he's in the dungeon, lock-up jail, the jailer sees that Yosef Avinu is blessed. And the jailer trusts Yosef Avinu with the jail, with everyone in the jail. Because he sees the righteous way of Yosef Avinu. Eventually, the young man Yosef Avinu receives the trust of some of his jailmates, They get bothered. Both of them have a dream. And the next day, they're troubled, don't know what to do with the dream. It won't let them sleep. They're troubled by it. So Yosef Avinu says, dreams, God has a way of speaking with us, to us, through us, in them dreams. Maybe I can give you some counseling about that. So they tell him the dreams, and he predicts what the dream's about. One of them is going to get done up by the Pharaoh. The other one's going to get released by the Pharaoh. And indeed, that's what happens. And so when the one is released, Yosef Avinu says, hey, tell Pharaoh about me. Don't forget about me now. Because I ain't done nothing. I should be out. Send a good word. Send a nice word for me. So the other prison mate says, yeah, right, okay. He gets out. Now a while passes by and he forgot about Yosef Avinu. Until one day Pharaoh has a bad dream himself and gets trouble. And he summons all his advisors, tells the dream, and all the advisors don't know what to do with that. And that's when the cupbearer, who is released from jail, from prison, remembers about Yosef Avinu. Says, oh, I remember. Yeah, that dude in the jail. I was supposed to tell you this before, but there's this cat I know. He knows some about them dreams. So Yosef Avinu is summoned from jail. He prepares to stand before Pharaoh, the number one man in the land. And Pharaoh tells him the dream, and Yosef says, haha, this is what the dream's about. Some fruitful times are going to come. Some times of abundance. Much harvest from the crops we can expect for the next 7 years. Abundance. But after that, it's going to be deprivation, famine, 7 years again, without nothing. So, this is what I advise you to do. In them years of plenty, of abundance, stock it up, store it up, and prepare for the deprivation. So Pharaoh says, I feel better about this. Who should we put in charge but yourself? You seem to be wise. You seem to know what's going on. That's what we do. So Pharaoh makes Yosef Avinu numero 2 man in the land. Puts him in charge of everything. He says, oh, you're so smart. Do it. Stock it up, pile it up, store it up for the next 7 years. You got it. Everybody listen to Yosef. See what he got to say. He's number 2 in the land. Gives him a ring, gives him a wife, gives him a chariot. He's doing it up. And that's what happens. Yosef Avinu becomes the number 2 man in the land of Mitzrayim, of Egypt. And he sets up policy, stores up the grain in the years of plenty. It's stocked up high. Piling over high. That's how much it is. Then he has 2 sons, Ephraim, Menashe. And he says, I'm making do in this land. Some bad things happen, but I'm making do. And then the years of deprivation arrive. People of Egypt say, hey, we ain't got nothing. We need some of that grain that you done stored up. So people from all around Mitzrayim, Egypt, arrive to get some of that grain. And indeed, the deprivation, the famine, is widespread to the surrounding areas, all the way to Canaan, the land of Canaan, where Yaakov Avinu, the father of Yosef, and all his brothers, Yosef Avinu's brothers, are living. The famine is there too. And Yaakov Avinu says, yo, sons, I've heard there's some grain in that place called Mitzrayim. Why don't you go over there, get some of that for us. Here's some currency with which to get that grain. So the brothers, 10 of them, Benjamin stays home because Yaakov Avinu, Israel says, I already missing Yosef. Something done happened to him. Y'all done let him get something happen to him. Benjamin staying here. So the DS brothers go to Mitzrayim, and when they do, they go up to the number 2 man in the land to ask for some grain, because that's who everybody goes to get the grain, and that's Yosef Avinu. But they don't recognize him. They don't recognize him as their own brother. He's older. He's authoritarian. He's not that crying baby boy in the pit. He's somebody different today. So they approach and they say, "Yo, we want some grain." And now Yosef Avinu, he knows exactly who they are. So he charges them, "Who you at? You spying the land, are you? Who are you? Where you come from? Who's your daddy?" So they tell him all their business. He says, "I don't believe you." So he puts them to the test.
Hey.
He puts one of them in jail and says, "I want to see your brother if you tell him the truth. Bring back your brother, your youngest brother, who you say you got. And unless you do, you're not going to see me again. So don't come back here asking for nothing. Here's some grain for the moment. Yeah, fine. But I'm locking up this one brother, Shimon. And you go on your way back to Canaan. Don't come back unless you got your brother with you. Because Benjamin is his own brother by his own mor, Rachel, his dear brother. He wants to see his younger brother. Don't come back here unless you come with your brother." So, the brothers kind of miffed. Who is that? What's going on with that? But they got their stuff, so they go back to the land of Canaan, back to the far Yaakov Avinu. And as they're returning, they see that the money, the currency, the gold they got still in their saddlebags. Whoa, how'd that happen? I thought we paid for that. Oh, I don't know. It sounds scary, but hey, we got it. They get back. They tell what happened. Yaakov says, "Come on, y'all could do better than that." Now, that goes on for a while. Then the grain that they got from Mitzrayim gets eat up. And Yaakov Avinu says, "Hey, yo, you got to go back, get some further grain. Because, we got to get our food." And the brothers say, "Yo, we can't go back unless Benjamin comes with us. Because the man said straight up, don't come back unless you get your brother." And so Yaakov Avinu says, "Ain't no way Benjamin is going. You done lost Yosef. You gave me his ragged coat with some blood on it, told me some story, cockamamie story about this, that, and the other. I ain't letting none happen to Benjamin. You must be tripping if you think that's going to happen." So Reuven, the oldest, says, "Hey, trust Benjamin with me. I'll take care of him." And Yaakov Avinu don't trust Reuven, because Reuven, he done some violated things before, so he gave up that right of the firstborn son. Then Yehuda steps up and says, "Oh, trust me. Put Benjamin in my care. I look out for him on my life." So Yaakov Avinu says, "What choice I got? We got to eat." So he trusts Benjamin, and Benjamin goes with the brothers back to Mitzrayim. And when they arrive, they bring double the money, double the currency. And that's the first thing they say, "Oh, when we got here," when they got there, they say, "Yo, here's the money from the previous case. We don't know what happened. We honest. We want to give money." And the steward for Yosef Avinu says, "Oh, we got your money. Don't worry about that. You must have gotten some blessing or something. So don't worry about that. We cool. We squared away." So they arrive at the place. And Yosef Avinu sees him again. They have a feast. They break bread. Everybody's given a certain amount. Yosef Avinu places their setting in their birth order, and they're like, "Hey, this is unusual. We're sitting all in the order of birth. How does that happen?" And then after the breaking of bread, Yosef Avinu sends them on the way with the grain, but he plants his special goblet in the sack of Benjamin, sets them up, and sends them on their way. And so they go on their way. Hey, it wasn't too bad. Everybody's with us. All right, let's go. So they go on their way. And Yosef Avinu tells the steward to go chase after him and find the goblet that he planted in Benjamin's sack and say, hey, you stole my goblet, now you're in trouble. And that's what the steward does. He catches up with the brothers as they're on their way. And they say, oh, ain't nobody a thief here. What you talking about? If anybody who done steal it, if you found it, then you're a slave for life. How about that? That's how honest we are. So the steward says, all right, we'll take you at your word. So he checks all their bags, their sacks. And when he checks the sack of Benjamin, there it is. And they all go, ah. So they all go back to Mitzrayim. And they say, oh, please, master, we didn't mean it. And Yehuda says, oh, come on, brother. He can't be a slave. I'll be a slave. Let me go instead. Let him go back home. Because I promised on my life that I let him go. And we already lost a brother already. Don't do that to my far. Come on. Don't do that. Don't do that. Please, please, please. And Yosef Avinu says, ho ho. You tried to get on me now. You see what happens. You see what I can do. You cross me now. And the brothers say, please, 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 please. And Yosef Avinu, by that point, he's still a dreamer. He's still that dude. And he becomes he starts to cry. Because he's overwhelmed by the emotion of seeing his brothers again. And he can't do it any further. So he closed the door. He tells everybody to get out. And then he says, yo, it's me. I'm Yosef. It's me. And they say, what? What you talking about? He says, come closer, come closer. It's me. I'm your brother, Yosef. And so he says, you done sold me out. But it's not your fault. It was supposed to happen. I was supposed to come here because I'm number 2 in this land. And I done set up things rather nicely. And now you got to live here for a while because the family's still got a few years. And I'll set you up. I'll put you in nice with Pharaoh. And I'll stake you for the years. You got to tell our father Yaakov. How's he doing, by the way? How's he alright? You got to tell him to live here. I'll set things out. I'll set it out. That's the only way. Because this famine is still coming. And so they recognize Yosef Avinu. They hug, they kiss, as the brothers do. And they reconcile. Yosef sends them on back to the way to Canaan, loaded up with wagons of stuff. The best, to convince Yaakov Avinu to return to Mitzrayim during this famine. And as the brothers return to the land of Canaan, back to Yaakov Avinu, back to the far, with all the riches. The story of Yosef being alive and the number 2 man in the land of Mitzrayim, of Egypt. Yaakov has a hint. He knew a little bit before him because he said, when he sent them, the brothers on the way out there said, we want to bring some gifts to soften up that dude. So he said so hardcore because he had a hint it was Yosef. But he couldn't believe too hard. So when his sons arrive back again and tell him it's Yosef, he's like, yeah, sure. What's going on with that? Because it's too. Sometimes things are too nice to believe. It's too much. But they reassure him, it's him. We got it. Let's go. So that's what happens. Yaakov Avinu packs up the whole house, the wives, the children of all the brothers, all the sons. Pack up, load up the carts, load up the wagons, and move to Mitzrayim during the famine so that they can stay with Yosef Avinu and Pharaoh in Egypt, in the land of Mitzrayim. When Yaakov Avinu arrives, Yosef greets him, tells him what's the situation, tells him about Pharaoh, and introduces him to Pharaoh. Pharaoh says, how long are you on this earth? How old are you? And Yaakov Avinu says, long and hard are the years of my life, and they're not nearly as much as those of my forebears. And Pharaoh says, you're welcome to this land to live where you want to live. And so Yosef sets them in the land of Goshen, where there is fields for the cattle. And that is what happens. So the years of famine continue in the land of Mitzrayim, and the people continue needing grain. At first they buy it, and after they can't buy it no further, they sold everything they got, all their cattle, everything they got, to Yosef in order to receive some grain in return. And even after that got used up through the years, year after year. Then they say, oh, what else we got left? They sold the land, they sold themselves. So they made a pact that a portion of every harvest from the land is given to Pharaoh, except for the priests. And the people are able to endure through the famine. Yaakov confers blessings onto Yosef and onto the sons of Yosef, Ephraim and Manasseh, Manasseh the elder and Ephraim the favored. And Ephraim Avinu. And Yaakov passes from life. And years continue on, and as Yosef continues, there's the burial of Yaakov Avinu in Canaan, in the land of Israel. And then as the years continue on, Yosef himself prepares for passing from life, and he makes the children of Israel, the sons of Israel, promise to bring his remains back to that same land, the land of Canaan, the land of Israel. And that is where Yosef Avinu passes from life. He continues the legacy through his sons Ephraim and Manasseh, and the children of Israel continue to live in Mitzrayim. And as the generations continue, Pharaoh forgets about Yosef, and the children of Israel become strong and strong and strong, such that Pharaoh becomes fearful of the children of Israel and convinces the people of Egypt, the people of Mitzrayim, to treat the children of Israel harshly, enslave them, afflict them, because they can't be trusted like that by Pharaoh. And thus begins the years of enslavement that precipitate the emergence of Moshe Rabbeinu, Moses, who leads the children of Israel into freedom and to the precipice of Eretz Israel, and confers the law of righteousness, the mitzvot, that coincide with liberation. And thus the narrative continues. That is one of the tellings of the story of Yosef Avinu from the tradition of Israel. And in the sharing of the story, we keep in mind the principle of Nisamanfo. Nisamanfo, the ancestors, the word, the experience, the teaching from Ghana, Twi. Namaste, assalamu alaikum, shalom, zajin, adios, tijegaris, esempin na asamuro kila ufred. One love and peace.
Them talk about these stories. We do our best within these stories to optimize the legitimacy within the stories, our pronunciation, the language, the sources from which we derive the stories, and the manner in which we inform and inspire authenticity within the recipients of these stories to continue the legacy, the inheritance, the treasures of these stories. There are treasures. These stories are rich, and these stories have responsibility. We share these stories with the purpose, with the guidance of knowledge of self, to get a better knowledge of ourselves, an understanding of ourselves, a respect for ourselves and for each other, to better live in peace, harmony, prosperity with ourselves, with each other, with attunement with the Tao, the path, the way, the Dharma, the great mystery, the will of God. In any and all the ways we understand that. One universe, one love and peace.